So, Evelyn, you run the number 3 community in the Skool Games right now. And what I love about you is that it's like top secret. You haven't even released it to the public. You're actually trying to stop people from coming into your group. What's going on?
So the reason why it's top secret is because I wanted to make sure that it is in a way that is aligned with our values and that rewards our existing members first, right? I actually have already existing memberships. We have around 8,300 paying monthly members. And everything is hosted on ClickFunnels and Facebook groups. So I'm very, very mindful of I think you get the loyalty back that you extend. So whenever I'm creating something new, I always think first of how can I make this benefit my existing clients. So we thought we could invite those people first. We built a completely new membership from scratch, put that in Skool, let people know your alumni ticket got better. You get now all these things plus early access to a new secret membership. And so obviously that was a no-brainer. And so it was kind of the perfect storm to do that. And now we have them in there. They vet the program. They give a ton of ideas of what resources we can add. And so we polish everything and then we open up to the public on the 11th. First also at the $77 price where we include more things to our backend memberships. And then we're going to drop the price to $8 for just new membership. Yeah.
That's crazy. So why is your approach to go low ticket rather than high ticket? Because it is quite countercultural in your space.
First off, it kind of serves where I come from, or it is aligned with where I come from. I used to run ads for people, right? So I would charge a high ticket. If you think about that in that way, I would charge retainers anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000 a month, depending on their ad spend. But why I felt okay charging that was because I could immediately see, right? We all could measure, this is what you pay me, this is what you make. So I'm paying myself basically. And so it felt very justifiable. Then when I ventured into coaching, I also sold my first program, which was a beta 1-to-1, got 10 people in. And then I realized about coaching that there's no way for me to get into a plane and go home to the person and drag them out of the bed and say, you're on this call right now and redo the work. So there's always my control, my circle of control is very limited with coaching, right? And so sometimes a person would also sign up with you, but maybe they actually want something else, right? And in the process, they kind of discover this. And so I really started to struggle with, I want my value to be unquestionable, right? And so I can't do this if it's almost like a school project where you like the nerd that puts in all the effort and then you have like a bunch of guys that are like, and it's like, it's not fun to work with someone who does not want it as much for themselves as you want it for them. And so I felt like, okay, that is robbing me of my will to live. I cannot do this. I still want to help people, but I want to clarify the responsibilities and I want to make it in a way that is really accessible for everyone, no matter where they are in their journey, and they can take their time, right? And my resources and support as they need it. So I did feel like that detangled a lot, where it was like almost like a weird codependency. I really want this person to succeed with this, right? So it just felt like so much more aligned with who I am and what I want to bring to the table. And then I also realized over time how beneficial it is strategically, because you serve so many people at scale, you have a lot of data. It's almost like you have your own market research pool, and basically the most challenging thing in the beginning is coming up with an offer where you have product to market fit. When you have a community, they tell you, now we want this from you, now we want this from you, and you have a market that immediately buys it from you, right? So it's you solve that whole product to market fit problem because you have your market right there. You just need to listen to them and then you create it for them. And so also you have this direct feedback loop, right? How many people do cancel on a monthly basis? Why do they cancel? So actually when you serve so many people, you realize how much your product sucks. So I just have to say, like super bluntly, many people create like a course, right? And there's no community support with it, or you just have a few members that you can give a lot of one-to-one attention. So you never reach that scale where you get bulk feedback on what you do and you see, where people get stuck, etc. And then you realize how detailed and step by step you really need to make things to get the majority of people across the finish line. So I do think it's really good for developing a much better product, over time. And over time, that makes a huge difference. And plus, I do have, if you want, like a backend with it. because through reaching so many people and building meaningful relationships with them, I have now a network of partner memberships where I have everything from, monthly recurring affiliation to a profit share. So it's also like a pool for business where I can just plug in my marketing knowledge into an existing talent, an attractive figure, right, that already comes with their signature knowledge, experience, a community that loves them. And now I can do their ads and funnels. So I can really supercharge them without having to be the front-facing figure, which is relatively exhausting because I'm more a private person. You wouldn't believe it. I'm out here because I'm competitive, but I'm more like a private person, and I do enjoy a lot being able to work in the background and doing things like building funnels, optimizing stuff.
Yeah. I love your conviction. And one of the things we love about talking to creators like you on Skool is to see how many of them, especially the successful ones, are like so aligned with their own values. And there's lots of different conventions like you should do this, but all the successful people we've talked to, they're like, no, this feels right for me, so I'm just going to do that. And I love how you're not just trying to like 2x the value, or even 10x. It sounds like you're like 100x in the value of your community members. And your philosophy is, you know what? We're just going to pick up like the little bits of change that fall down the side of the sofa whenever people stand up by being so successful through our programs, So I love that approach. I think it's really generous.
I do think it just is so perfectly aligned with how I also want to show up. I'm also a creator in nature, so I do love to solve problems for people. I do love to, I love being here on the Skool Games and figure it out, right? So I do love to take off that experiential burden from people where they have to put themselves through like a tough challenge and risk, how they feel about themselves if it doesn't work out. So I do love taking on those challenges and then templatizing it through for people, not only as in, here's what I did, but here's also how I thought and felt about it, because a lot of that burden is actually how will I feel about myself when things get challenging, you know what I mean? So, and by kind of giving permission that it's okay to feel certain ways or to not, maybe I will not be in the top 10 by the end of the month. I do think that's a realistic threat because, there just need to be a few people with a high ticket mastermind and I'm out. But then I will still have a vault of experience to work through, right, and help people with that. So I do feel like anyone who participates already won.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Alex himself said, even if you lose, you still win because you'll have this thriving business and you'll be changing people's lives. And, that's definitely on the cards for yourself. There's no doubt about that. So you're like a master of online communities before Skool. Other than you're really competitive and you fancy the chance of winning the games and meeting Alex Hormozi, why have you made the shift onto Skool? And like, how does it compare to, your current other ways like Facebook groups and things like that?
So the shift to Skool I made as soon as I heard that Alex has this challenge. I was looking into it and I knew I want to be a part of the conversation. And I also wanted to use this as a playground for us to show how quickly we can pull together professional membership, because that also validates our methods. And so I actually, to be completely honest, I didn't care about, I would have done it on any platform and I would have found a way. But I do appreciate it much more than I initially thought. So initially, how we all have this like, oh, it's a new kind of thing to learn. And then I was coming on and I was like, you cannot do live streams and what? And so it was like, I felt a little bit skeptical about it. And then I realized that a lot of the students that are in right now really enjoy it because it's very simplified. The gamification really is a game changer, and you see how people are helping each other because of that. So, or partially because of, right? It's natural. If it's rewarding, we do it more. So it's an amazing. I think it's a really good experience for the students. And so I think when you compare it to Facebook groups, for example, so correct me if I'm wrong, I don't understand enough about the Skool algorithm yet, but on what we have often in the Facebook communities is that Facebook kind of filters who sees what. So even though we have our paid communities and people subscribe to be there, very often our posts don't have like enough reach, etc. But what I noticed from the Skool communities, it seems like everyone who follows me, they definitely see a notification about my post so far, unless they have turned it off. And that's a big game changer if you think about how you can reach your audience so that you don't have to rely on that filter. Or, also sometimes like really annoying, our posts get taken down for violating community standards. And then it's like, here's your vision board workshop. And we're like, why? Or suddenly you can't live stream, or you have a live lounge, and then your access to your own group gets shut down. So there's definitely those things about Facebook groups that are really tricky. And I do think that because it is on Facebook, people can get easily pulled into another rabbit hole, right? So that creates a little bit of procrastination. So I do think it's really great for focus. I also think for the foreseeable future, we will have to let it run parallel, because it was the initial reaction of my community was a lot of people were like, please, let's not go away from here. There's also a lot of knowledge that has built up in the Facebook groups. But I do think that over time, potentially more and more people will move over. And it's also nice for us to kind of offer the options if you want, right? So I can already clearly kind of see my student types as well that would appreciate Skool a lot. So I think it's a really good way to add an additional communication channel, which is always amazing, right? So the more channels I have to reach my clients, the better. So and the more ways I have to serve them in a way that they can receive the value, the better. So I think, so at least with this community, we will stay for the new membership. And then future communities, I do feel very tempted to create here.
That's awesome. Yeah, we have a walled garden in Belfast, and it's like totally private, and inside there's all these roses. And just when you were speaking, I was like, Skool's a little bit like the walled garden, because it's super private, it's invite only, you have to be let in, the doors to be unlocked for you, whereas Facebook is a little bit more like a noisy marketplace where like someone can tell you, no, don't set up here, like move here, and you're competing with all these other people. And I guess that creates a very different experience for your users. And as you say, they're able to really focus. That culture within the community is able to flourish a lot more. And I think that's really special. Evelyn, final question for you. You have been building online communities successfully for a long time. What advice do you have for us who are just starting out in Skool, monetizing our passions, building a community around our thing? Give us some of your golden nuggets that you've come up with over the years.
So I still recommend the signature process that I followed from the beginning, and which is basically what I repeat. It's pick a challenge worth pursuing, document that challenge, solve the problem along the challenge, templatize what you've done, and pass that on to others who want to pursue the similar challenge, right? So it's not much more complicated than that. Especially, if you're really a coach and you sell yourself as such, you should have a certification, you should really know what you're doing, right? But if you're having a paid community, people love if you take them on the journey with you, right? And it's a lot more accessible that way too. So I would potentially always focus on building my email list first. So my go-to methodologies has been Facebook lead ads. Anyone can look that up on my YouTube channel. I have free training around that, so I'm not gatekeeping it. But yeah, pick a challenge worth pursuing. Figure out the first offer for your membership in a Google Doc. Write down the coaching or, live access, content, and community. What do people get? On Skool makes it even easier. Sit down, record a video, let people know your vision. Right? You can learn that really well. There's one person, I think he's Tyler, in the top 10. He has a mastermind, right? He sat down with
Tyler Newman. That is, yeah.
I was like, yes, this is amazing, because he just sits down with a Google Doc, conveys his vision, right? You don't need to make it much more fancier than that. So sit down, have your vision, record it through, think of people who would feel drawn to that vision. What kind of entry point micro solution can I make? Make that as your strategic freebie, run a lead generation campaign, have an email follow-up, guide people to your Skool, and keep nurturing.
As easy as that, Evelyn. That's how you win the Skool Games. That's the magic formula that everyone's looking for.
I think that's what Alex says, is you just have to do it longer and try more. Like, you just have to do it for an extended period of time and genuinely care about giving real value. I do feel it's not so much more complicated than that.
Yeah. Evelyn, thank you so much for your time, and good luck winning the Skool Games.
Thank you so much.